All right. Thanks for showing that, Jess. We're starting the meeting with a little zen. All right, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order and start with roll. Ginny?
Bush.
Here.
Greenlee.
Here.
Harris.
Here.
Hill.
Here.
Kyers.
Here.
Longstreet.
Here.
McCaffrey.
Here.
Reichart.
Here.
Rice. Here. And Sachs.
Here.
All right, super. Thank you. And we will move on to additions and deletions to the agenda, and we have just a couple. So we are actually going to move item 10A from old business to item 7, which will be the financial status report quarterly, just because that's the way our bylaw order of business reads, that we have presented in that order. So it's essentially the same content. We're just moving it to item number 7, and that is for quarter 4. So I'll let Linda, when we get to that, if you want to just talk about that briefly. That'll be under number 7. Also, that kind of renumbers everything one bigger. So 7 will become 8, 9, or 8 will become 9, and so on through the agenda. And hopefully everybody has the green edition. There's an MOU that the planning committee talked about and reviewed in front of you. That will get added, and we'll put that at item number 12F. So it was 11F, but with the renumbering, it'll be 12F. And I think that is it. Does that make sense? Yes. All right, super. All right, we will move on to the approval of the minutes of the previous meeting, and that is from August 22nd. Hopefully y'all had a chance to look at those. If we have a motion to approve.
I'll move.
All right, thanks, Bruce. Do we have
Support.
support? Sorry, was that you, Joe?
That was me.
Oh, Phil, sorry. Okay, great. Thank you, Phil. All right, any questions, edits, comments? All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, meeting minutes are approved. And with that, we will go to our first opportunity for public comment. I do see we have one person. No, you're all set? Okay, super. If there's anyone online who would like to make public comment, feel free to email the commission at any time during the month at the email address in the YouTube description, and we'll take a look at it at the next meeting. So, all right, and we'll keep rolling then with staff reports and start with the director's report with Jason.
So it was a busy month as I was putting together my report. The one thing that's worth noting, I did a memo on the attached to my report. So it looks like we've worked through kind of completion of the North Ottawa Dunes settlement. So we've been working with fiscal. The funds will be transferred, and then we'll actually have the Board of Commissioners establish a new CIP project in January. Yeah, so all good news. And happy to answer any questions on any of the other content in my report.
All good? All right, thanks, Jason. And of course, I renumbered the agenda, skip number 7. So we're going to back up for a minute and do the financial status report. Sorry. It's been a long day. All
Already,
right. So,
right?
yeah, I know, right? At
It
3
crept
o'clock
up
in
on
the
us, too.
afternoon. Oh, boy. Yeah, everyone correct me today if I mess up again. Well, yeah, exactly. I'll just hit myself in the head with it. So we have the quarterly report, and Brandy has been instrumental in this, and it's gone before finance and policy. But Linda, is there anything you want to mention or highlight there at all?
I think the only thing I want to say is please read Brandy's notes. They really explain any question really that you might have. And if you after reading those notes, I'm sure Brandy will be happy to answer questions, but she's done a really good job of explaining. Now, the other thing I will say, those are fourth quarter numbers. Do not think those are the end of the year numbers. If we're lucky, maybe in April, she's like, maybe in April we'll have the final year-end tally, but it's not her response. It's not her fault. It's somebody's fault. It's just the way the system works. So if you have questions between now and then, and the explanation didn't explain it enough for you, feel free to email Jason and Kelly and me and Brandy, and somebody will answer that question if you don't have it today.
But this should be pretty darn
Pretty
close.
close.
There shouldn't be any major significant fluctuations, so.
Super, thanks. Any questions on the quarterly financial report? All right, thanks Linda and Brandy and everyone else who helped put that together. That is super information to have. I'm sorry, Jason, is there anything else to highlight in your report that you
No,
wanted
and
to? or-
we'll, if
Okay.
nobody has any other questions, happy to
Okay,
move
all
on.
right. If not, we will keep rolling then with the park operations report, and that's Jason Berger.
All right. Well, as usual, October was mostly cleaning up from the summer, dealing with a lot of leaves and getting everything winterized, closing restrooms down and getting stuff winterized. So staff kept really busy with that. One very notable thing, though, is we recently received Colin Zackerson's official retirement notice. So January 30th will be his last day after 35 years with the parks. So we'll definitely plan something for Colin when the time comes. And his position has been posted and is on the county website right now. So we are in the search. In addition to that, if anybody has any questions, be glad to answer them. But just a lot of fall and winter prep.
Great. Anything for, go ahead.
I have a question, and it has to do with the property, the homeowner that has the property up on Riverside, up by Riverside Park.
Mhm.
The one that poor man is like, I don't know what people's problem is. What do our signs actually say? I mean, are we really pretty clear that the trail doesn't go through there? People need to stay off of his
It
property?
is very clear, but in addition to those signs that are currently up, that both we have up and the state has up, they have their own signs up that that are also very clear. We have some additional signs that were printed just recently and will go up that actually show the future plans that kind of outlay that, yeah, there's more coming here, and has a map on it and everything. And those were just printed today, haven't been mounted yet.
Okay.
Good question.
Yeah, I know it's
Grand Haven is
a hard situation.
I feel for them. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, he's done his best to, he has cameras up, and he has to deal with a hard situation.
Yeah, okay. Maybe that'll help.
All right. Anyone else? Questions for Jason? Yeah, go ahead, Bruce.
I think, I don't know if it was on your report or on planning or something. So it sounds like at Tunnel Park, that's kind of on hold until the Kirk Park and other things are done. Did I understand that correctly?
Yeah,
Sure.
that'll
I can
go
answer
to
that
me.
better.
Yeah, we were initially planning to do the Tunnel Park work first. It's the same contractor doing both of it.
Yeah.
We were having trouble getting a building permit, although now we have it. So he went over and started on Kirk Park, and we said, well, let's just work on Kirk Park, get that done, and we'll come back to Tunnel Park when we're done at Kirk. So, yeah.
All right, thank you.
Anyone else? All right.
Apologize for being late. Sorry.
I think anyone would have noticed you. Which I know, I'm just kidding.
Slipped in, you had
You
got it
snuck in
figured.
so well. That was awesome. Right on time. All right, we'll move to planning and development, and that is with Kurt.
All right, I don't have a lot to add, mostly because I've been out of the office for the last 2 days, observing the special helical piles that will support the new bridge across the Macatawa River in the middle Macatawa area. So that's between Hawthorne Pond and Upper Macatawa. We've been reporting on this project. There's a lot that's been done at Hawthorne Pond, but the bridge was waiting for, there's been lots of issues with the bridge and getting it engineered properly. So they needed someone to observe to make sure that the actual specifications were being met. And so I was the person who volunteered to do that. So just got back like 20 minutes ago, and everything went well. So that is good news. We look forward to opening that trail next spring. So, but otherwise, any questions on my report? I try to answer.
Anything for Kurt?
I did put some stuff on there about the parks plan, but that's coming up later.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
Okay. Anyone? All right, we'll keep rolling. Thanks, Kurt, with community engagement. And Jess?
I just wanted to point out, thank you, I appreciate that. Just kind of a cool thing. I didn't actually even realize it until I was doing the report, and I had to like go back to my schedule to be like, really? We had a program or volunteer event every single day of the month in October. It's like, all right, cool. So we've been working really hard to, spring gets busy very quickly, which is not just for everybody in parks. So trying to make sure we make, we get schools out on those really beautiful October days. So it's been cool to see that schedule fill up. But otherwise, happy to answer any questions that you might have.
Anything for Jazz? I got a question. Any chance we're going to expand the tree cutting opportunities that have on wait lists? Because
That-
so the date that you guys have it, I was like, oh, I want to help. But I
Yeah,
dawned
so
for
that is
Thanksgiving.
on my list of things to check in with Carly about this week. We have
Okay.
gotten an overwhelming amount of interest. So we've got the road commission has given us the thumbs up to use their lot. So I think we've got
Oh,
enough
okay.
parking that we could have more folks.
Mhm.
I think we can make it. There's certainly enough trees. So yeah,
Okay.
I think we'll try to open it up a little bit. But
Okay.
yeah, that filled up very quickly.
That's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. Awesome. All right. Anyone else? All righty. We will move. Oh, Neely's not here, but was someone going to highlight anything from that report? Or just kind of let it stand and see
We
if
can
there's
cover if there are any
questions?
questions. We can
Okay.
try to field those or
Yeah.
get clarification.
Anybody have any questions on that? Go ahead, Linda.
Is natural resources about down to the last hours of their part-time
Help.
workers, or is she going to have some help?
I
over?
think they'll have they try to stretch them out through
Okay.
the year. And since we hit we monitor it on a rolling year and kind of monitor both for budget. So we're in a new fiscal year now, so for budget wise, but then we also just try to track their total hours in a rolling year so that we don't trigger any unintended FMLA consequences or Affordable Care Act.
Okay,
So,
thank you.
All right. Anyone else? Did you have something? Linda?
Well, I was just thinking about the work that was done out at the Grand Haven Dunes. That just happened. So that's the first time that our staff has been on that property doing that kind of work. Is that
It was the first cooperative work day, yeah.
cooperative work day? Okay. Okay. Gotcha. So is that property in pretty good shape? I mean, as far as, maybe you guys don't know the answer to this, but does it need a lot of work or is it just need some fine tuning?
So we're in the process of having a natural features inventory
Oh, okay.
done, and then that will be the basis for a resources management plan. I think one of the goals with that partnership between us and Grand Haven and Ferrysburg, Kitchelinquist Dunes, was really to cooperatively manage it and make sure we're being proactive. Since it was getting right, each property on each side was being proactively managed for the natural resources. So I think our goal would be at least to try to bring it up to what we're doing on our property as well. So
Who's doing the natural features inventory?
Bill,
Bill
Martinez.
Martinez, yeah. Cool. Thank you.
and he's also doing, I think, KLH at the same time. So Kitchelinquist Dune, Harker Dune Preserve, I get it right. So
Thank you.
Great. Anyone else? All right, we'll keep going with the development report, and that is Katie. Excited to see the new development report.
Yeah, so I'll just we're trying a new approach to our report, so open to any comments, feedbacks, or questions.
So I have to be honest, I already sent Katie a note because I really like that we're now seeing what the foundation sees. I mean, it's the broader picture. So thank you. It makes understanding what's going on a little easier.
I really liked the format and the information you included too. That was really good. Even the graphs and great. Anyone else? Well, I guess if anyone had any comments or questions, they could shoot them your way during the month if that works too. So great.
Absolutely.
All right, super. All right, we will just keep rolling with the strategic plan progress report. I don't know if there's anything really to highlight there, but it was a good update that there's some plans under development, some department-specific plans. Anything else to add, Jason? or-
Well, I think just as we had a big focus on trying to get all the parts and pieces finalized with the Parks and Rec open space plan, and Aaron's now shifting back to try and work with each division and kind of working on those. So.
Great. Right. We'll keep going then with the Visitor and Business Services report, and that is Nick.
Good afternoon. So it's been busy in the VBS world like always. Couple important things I want to mention. A huge thank you to Elaine. She was our guest services supervisor. Elaine's been with the county parks for over 10 years. She had a fantastic opportunity to advance in her career, and we all deeply miss her. I can't understate how much she's done for our rental facility program and the care and dedication that she showed to our customer. So I just want to give a big shout out to Elaine and public thank you to her. She did an amazing job. We'll miss her. But in addition to that, a lot of new things going on in the VBS world. The big thing is getting ready for Pigeon Creek, and we're utilizing the WendaWorks software. We rolled it out as a test run with our camp staff. And the goal is we're going to have all of our Pigeon Creek winter folks that might also work at the campground. They might also work for NEC. They'll be able to see that schedule in one place, which will make it a lot more convenient to them. In addition, Jess and I have been working together. We're going to really master that software, and it'll help us in our tracking of labor and reporting in the future too. So we're really excited about that. We've made a lot of progress on the facility use plan. We presented that to the finance committee. Looking forward to their feedback. Excited for that project to move forward. The campground software project is moving forward very well. We're buttoning up some final details. We're going to move forward with Camp Spot for that. Another big public thank you, our campground host, Brad and Lisa. They signed on originally, I think, for a couple months, and they loved the volunteer opportunity so much they stayed until beginning of November. And I can't thank them enough. And I hope they come back next year. They're awesome. But happy to answer any other questions you have. I have a motion coming up for Pigeon Creek operations, but that's kind of my focus right now. The next 3 weeks is getting Pigeon Creek ready to go. So happy to answer any questions you may have.
Anything for Nick? All right, great. Thanks, Nick. And we will move on to the visitation report. This is from the Placer AI data. And I don't know if there's anything to highlight. That's always really great visuals for us to see how park usage is fluctuating and trending. So is there anything you wanted to highlight, Jason?
No, but
or-
if there's any questions, and as always, as you guys have an opportunity to digest this, Aaron, right, is a whiz with kind of crunching those numbers. If we can make it easier to digest, or if you have a question, let us know. It's, it's great to really be able to analyze the trends. So if it makes you ask a question, let us know, because we can really dig into it.
So that one part or on the slide, I don't know, I think it's page 59 or 49 of our PDF, but when new sites come online or data becomes available, does that mean like that Placer AI just expands their service area, or we're able to get information on those parks? Or I don't know, it's under notable items for October 2025, and it says several sites now have data available. Um,
Well, and I know that, so, and Aaron will be down here at one point. so
Oh,
he
that's
can-
okay, yeah, I can
but
follow up with him.
I know that they changed their algorithm a little bit. So, for example, I think one of the things was like they were able to pick up more of the trail users who were moving a little quicker. So I don't know if it was
Oh,
a
okay.
change in
Okay,
metric. We'll
yeah.
Do you know,
run that one.
does Aaron set up the boundaries within Placer? Okay. So,
And I think our license allows us so many sites.
Yeah.
okay.
So.
So a variety of reasonable explanations for all, all the manual work that I imagine he's got to put in to get
Mhm.
all those discrete sites set up and with boundaries around them.
Mhm. Yeah, great. Any other questions or comments? All right, we will keep rolling on to committee reports, and starting with the executive committee, we met, Jean and I met last week with Jason and talked about kind of the normal items, the agenda, what might be coming up on the agenda, potential, always thinking about guest speakers. So again, just wanted to throw another invite out to folks when we have shorter meetings or maybe after the first of the year. We have a variety of kind of topics in the works. So you have some staff or even outside guest speakers come in and talk to the Parks Commission about park specific items, but always willing to take suggestions from folks on what they'd like to hear about. Then we talked a little bit about the millage education materials that will probably be coming up here soon, and how those are coming together. And also a little bit about the nominating committee that will be established and come up and be more pertinent after the first of the year. So I think that's about the highlights, what we discussed, but happy to take any questions. Anyone has any? All right, we will keep going with the planning committee, and that is Lucas.
All right, thank you. We had, again, great notes, Kurt and Aaron, for putting these together. But we chewed on the parks plan for a lot of the meeting, and really looking at the millage concepts and the scenarios, and trying to decide which ones make the most sense to leave in the plan. So as noted here, the consensus was moved from 5 to 2 scenarios within the plan, just to make it easier to understand. So I think Kurt will have some additional information later on in the agenda to go over some of the verbal changes within the plan to kind of help, I guess, exemplify some of the concerns, or maybe rectify some of the concerns that we had with some of that language. The other item here I'd like to talk about or review is the Grand River Coastal Corridor Conservation Plan. Hopefully you've had a chance to review that. It's a pretty cool plan that's built on other plans that have come before this. And so I'm really excited to see this one kind of hit the road, if you will, and get out to the local units for review, and just highlighting once again how unique globally the Grand River is, with the confluence of Lake Michigan and that space. So in looking at it closer, we've really done amazing work already, long before I ever sat in this role. But between county parks and state parks and local parks, there's already a lot of open space that's within there. So looking forward to just improving that area. And then the last one I'd like to just touch on is the Eastmanville Farm Barn. So the feasibility study is complete, so I'm looking forward to seeing more information about that, and additional park plans for that park. So any questions, happy to answer them or give it a whirl.
Lucas, you mentioned at the meeting that you were going to talk about the Grand River plan with the township. How was the reaction?
So we have introduced this plan as well as the other two plans, the corridor, the the one that was completed by the Audubon Great Lakes, as well as the I'm, I'm I'm not thinking of the name of it, but there's the two other plans in advance of this one. And so so far there's been a great deal of interest. And so we presented that to the Planning Commission and to the Recreation Committee. So it was really touching on those three plans along with, the watershed studies that are underway or proposed, and helping the community just better understand the efforts that are happening and have happened in the past. So did I get a resounding reaction? No, but I think there's a lot of gratitude and about what's happening, and they're looking forward to taking future steps. So
Is there an effort to get the multiple people that are doing planning to get together to have one plan?
I don't know the answer to that one yet.
That would be, I think, of value.
Yeah, so I think there's given the regional aspect, and how I know, like with the third plan I was thinking of was from the Land Conservancy of West Michigan and their strategic plan. So I know they're interested in this, and obviously Parks is, and so is Great Lakes, Audubon Great Lakes.
Yeah.
And so if between those powerhouses and our local units and getting out and just spreading the word, and maybe coming together with a stronger regional approach. I look at like what Saugatuck Township did in their plan, and maybe there's something we could do to mimic that on a local level.
Who should take the initiative to get the different groups to sit down and talk to each other about coming up with a common plan?
Yeah, I think Parks is really going to be the lead on that. That's from how I understand it, with from Jason and staff. So, but I do know that all of those entities have been contacted and are interested in helping. When I say entities, meaning Audubon Great
Yeah,
Lakes.
yeah. Well, I just think it would make some sense for everybody to come up with a common, that we're all on the same wavelength so that they're not little competing efforts.
Sure, for sure.
Is that,
So let me just say something to that, because this report is the culmination. There was a huge amount of initial input from all of the stakeholders. I can't, and it's in there. If you go through there, you can find it, right? So all of the municipalities, all of the conservation and environmental groups, even industry, I mean, all kinds were in the initial input stage. So now this is what we came out with. And so that's why we're going, okay, let's go back to these folks and say, hey, here's what we came up with.
and that includes input from them into that process?
Oh, yeah, yeah, it was in,
All
it
the
was
local
in,
jurisdictions
everybody
had-
was.
And there was the Grand River Coastal Corridor Ecological Assessment,
Yes.
which we received grant funding for, hired the Audubon's Great Lakes. They researched and compiled all of the historical data and studies that had been done. And then that culminated into the second phase, which is this document. So we've been in communication with some of the other folks who helped compile it to put together a PowerPoint. And then we're getting some of the some hard copies, but the goal will be to have kind of a standardized PowerPoint that we can use in conjunction with some of the other stakeholders to do presentations to each of the jurisdictions. And then maybe start to talk about how do we formalize cooperative management on it, and long-term looking at landscape level management of this whole corridor. So
But I think it is just evolving, so it's great you're on the plan. I think the planning committee will probably keep talking about this and
talking.
have it almost a standing agenda.
And yeah, and this input wasn't general either. I don't know, remember how many individual interviews
Yeah.
were done with local officials and
Mhm.
both elected and non-elected. So I think we had a good baseline to work from. But yes, the next part is trying to get everybody back on the same page.
And then as I know there was a Harbor Island meeting last week or 2 weeks ago. I know Mark Van Putten was sharing it and has shared it with some of the local leaders. We had a meeting with some of the staff from Grand Haven, discussed it this week. And so,
So one of the platforms that might be beneficial is the Northwest Ottawa Parks and Recreation Plan. And that included 5 municipalities, Spring Lake Village, Spring Lake Township and Village, Ferrysburg, City of Grand Haven, and Grand Haven Township. So they all got together and created their parks plan. So that might be just a great kind of a carry on. We've been kind of looking for a special project that we all could get around together. So this might fit in perfectly with that.
Yeah, good.
I just feel that, there are all kinds of cooks cooking broth, and it would be great if there was one recipe at the end of it.
Mhm. Yeah, I think it's good. All right, we'll keep talking about it. Thanks.
Hey, can I
Lucas.
just mention one thing? Because we did talk about the barn feasibility study, which I was intending to get in their packet. It didn't get in there, so we will send that out, even though the
Okay.
planning committee is planning to discuss it further. I think we should just get it to you and you can comment if you would like
Yeah, that's
prior
great.
to that. So.
Super, thanks, Kurt. All right, any final questions for Lucas? All right, we'll move on to finance and policy, and that's Linda.
It's really not me, but sort of.
You're in
So
charge.
this last meeting was substantially more about policy than it was about finance. We did talk about the fourth quarter. We did talk about next plans for Pigeon. So I think this really stands as it's written. I just want to say that when these things come up for motions, there's a whole, for any of the motions that come from a committee, there is a whole lot of discussion that goes on. And you are always welcome to ask questions for sure here, but if you read it beforehand and you want to send questions to that particular committee, happy to help if there's anything that doesn't make really a lot of sense. But you are going to get to hear a lot about the price of hot dogs later. And then the Hawthorne Park Middle Mac Tower Interagency Maintenance Agreement, I believe we have a motion on that coming up as well. So I think these notes stand clearly as they're written.
Super. Any questions for Linda? All right, good deal. Oh, that sounds good. And we will move on to the Parks Foundation update, and that is Jane.
Yeah, not too much to share. The foundation hasn't met since their annual meeting, so we'll meet in early December. Other than that, there are some Thanksgiving thank you cards that are going out today, as I understand it. And end of year appeal letter will be going out soon. And so the foundation does a really good job of using multiple touch points with donors and prospective donors. So those communications are on the way out, and meeting coming up December 12th, I think. So I think that's all I have.
Great. Questions for Jane? All right, all done with committee reports, and we will move on to old business. We'll make the Parks Plan item A instead of B. So that's Kurt. Did you want to give a little overview? What we're looking at now is final approval of the Parks and Open Space Plan. And it has been before Planning and Development, as well as I think a couple other committees from time to time as we've come through the home stretch. But since we've talked about this a lot, does anyone feel comfortable making a motion right out of the gate?
I'll make a motion
Okay.
as written.
Thanks, Linda. Do I have support?
I'll support that.
Okay, thanks, Martin. All right, Kurt, you
All
want to give
right,
us
so
a
I'm
little
sure you've all reread it, right, since last meeting?
cover to cover?
whole thing.
Yeah, pictures. There were not a lot of changes. There were lots of people who found errors and corrections. Those we did. There were a few minor points of emphasis that we added. Other than that, the plan is as it had been before our last meeting. The big item that was mentioned was at planning committee, we decided the consensus was to just look at two scenarios for funding and what's the opposite of funding? Expending, funding and expending, right? So spending. So, and those were the renewal of the millage at the 0.33 rate and then the rate of 0.53 mils. And the way that affected the plan directly was in two chapters. Chapter 6 deals with funding and chapter 13 deals with spending. So what we did is at the end of my report were the last summary sections of each of those chapters, which I did an effort at clarifying it. Jason did some work on it. And so we think this summarizes where we are as clearly as we can. That did mean that in the actual recommended projects, we reworked those spreadsheets too. So it's clear this is what we're doing for 0.33. Here's all the other stuff that we would add if we had the 0.53 millage. So that's the way it is. If you didn't know, the hope is if you approve it today, it would go to the county board in their December meeting. And then, as we said before, February 1 is the deadline to submit to the state. So.
All right, thanks, Kurt. Any questions or comments?
I just have a quick question. And I apologize, I did not read it, so I can't comment. Is there a prioritization of what our projects would be?
Yes, there is. There is. So obviously the 0.33, we had the priorities are the existing initiatives that we have, which is basically the Grand River Greenway and a couple of other projects related to that. And then all of our renovation projects over the next 5 to 10 years, right? Which we've laid out, and I call those scheduled renovations because we just know in 20 or 25 years we're going to have it. So now all of the plan or the projects in the 0.53 millage are listed. If you still go in there, there is a rating system on there. So there's 2A, 2B, 2C, 2D, and 2E, I believe, 5. So you can still see the ratings for each project that we had when we looked at the different funding scenarios, but it's just all under one. So yes, the ranking of those projects is still in there.
Any other questions for Kurt? All right, we're going to go ahead and put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. And now we are on to new business. And the first item up is Hawthorne Pond and the Middle Macatawa Interagency Maintenance Agreement. This has come before Finance and Policy, as Linda mentioned already. So do we have a suggested motion here, if anyone feel comfortable making that?
I'll make that
for
motion.
finance. Go ahead, Jane.
I'll make the motion.
All right, thanks, Jane. Would you like to support?
I'll be happy to
All right,
support.
here we go. Nice. All right, discussion, questions. Jason, anything you would like to
So
mention, or?
this is, and as Kurt talked about earlier, this is a project that has been underway for quite a while, and there's work going on at Hawthorne Pond. The restroom building, we authorized construction of that restroom building on county property. Hawthorne Pond, for those who might not recall, we own that jointly with the township, and then the township has the responsibility for day-to-day operations. So the restroom building was constructed. We assisted with that trust fund grant. It was a trust fund. Yep. And then, it also included a trailhead connection that will carry on through the Middle Macatawa area, which is owned by the Outdoor Discovery Network. They provided an easement for us to manage the trail on that easement. So what this does, though, is between the township in Ottawa County Parks, it defines the roles and the responsibilities really in that county-owned property where the restroom facility is and then that trailhead. So hopefully that is clear as mud.
It's great.
So basically, they're going to manage it just like they do the existing park that's there. They'll manage it all as one part. But where it goes off that site onto the trail, we're in charge of that.
Mhm. Yep, perfect.
The
Any questions?
restrooms are managed by them or us? Is it?
Yeah, the restrooms that are at Hawthorne Pond, the new modern ones, they were done to the township's specifications, their design, and they will be taking care of them. Yep.
Awesome.
And it made the project quite a bit cheaper because that property we had acquired was out of the floodplain. So and then there's a nice little connector trail to the existing Hawthorne Ponds property in that little parking area to that restroom, and it really will be a nice amenity for the trail.
Great. Anyone else? All right, we'll go ahead and put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. And now we're up to Pigeon Creek and the hot cocoa and hot dog. All right, this also has been through finance and policy, and we had a good discussion about the spreadsheet that's proposed. So does anyone feel like making the suggested motion at this time?
Finance is happy. I'll be happy to make that
All
motion
right,
from finance.
thank you, Linda. Do we have a second?
Support.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Lucas. All right, Nick, you're up. You want to walk us through the refreshments and the equipment
Yeah,
and all the
I'll
other
save
good
you
stuff in here?
the breakdown of the hot dog expenditure, but essentially what we're doing here is we're looking at what is our actual cost for the material, and then what's our estimated cost when you account for labor to prepare that food and serve that food to the customer. So we had a really good handle on what we sold last year. Looking at current pricing of all the materials that we use in the concession stand, we were able to break down what those costs are. So the goal here is to keep Pigeon Creek family friendly, affordable as much as possible, but also cover our costs for labor and material. So that's kind of what we're doing here. And going into next year, we'll actually be tracking the specific labor hours spent by staff in the concession area and the rental area. So we'll have a better figure on that labor cost per item. So we'll come back with an adjustment. Obviously, prices change, and we'll be able to hone that price in a little bit better. So happy to answer any questions you have.
You need to tell them about not having pennies anymore. This is an important
Yes,
thing.
yes, thank you, Linda.
No,
This is something that we started at Item Explorers Camp when we set the pricing there. We want it takes a lot of staff time, to make sure you have quarters, dimes, nickels. So what we did is when we set these prices, you can see like the sales price for certain items, $1.88, but after tax, it's a flat $2. It just makes it easier for the customer and staff when making change, and so save a little bit of labor time, but that has nothing to do with the phasing out of the penny. It's just to standardize everything to the dollar. So happy to answer any questions you have.
So Nick, has there ever been talk about, I know all the beach parks, you have to have a park permit. And this, I know, but I know it brings a lot of money into the West Michigan. I talked to the people that ski there. They come from a lot of different places and stay over the weekend in hotels.
Mm.
But has it ever been discussed about having, it has?
Well,
And it's a fine line. I get
and I
that.
think that they're in both the dog park also, and I think that's one of the areas we could discuss the motor vehicle permits and try to figure that out if we need to investigate additional revenue sources.
Because you look at Rosie and all them, they have their permits when you gotta be there. And
Yep.
not that I want, to drive families away, but it's just something that I think we should talk about, or you have already, and that's fine.
Well, no, I think that's if it's always that balancing act of right. So, yeah.
Just a comment.
Mhm.
I think we could, certainly look at the motor vehicle permits and see where it applies. especially when before the millage was passed in 96, they implemented the motor vehicle permit fee specifically on the lake shores because it was so heavily used, to help offset those operating costs of those facilities that really just got a ton of use. And so that stayed in place intentionally even after the millage was passed in 96. So we've talked a couple times, does it make sense to do it for, apply the motor vehicle permit at Pigeon, and the dog park is the other place, gets really high use certain times out of the year. And you could use the same logic. So it would just,
But then again, their millage is what they pay for too, so it's, I know.
right. And I think that's
Well, and it wouldn't be, would it be on snow days or non-snow days? I mean, when do you have to have a permit?
right.
And what if we don't
I
have
think
any
it's
snow days?
one of those things, if we need to adjust and look for funding in the future, I think that's one of the, right, logical low-hanging fruit that would make sense.
Well, I think just kudos to staff for figuring out how to track, what's our actual by facility or by location, because before it's like, well, I don't even know. Are we making a lot of money? Are we losing that? So I think this is a great first step, so we can get even better data next year, and how you guys have set this up, which is super. And
Yeah,
gives
and
you
the-
the ability to look at that.
Yeah.
So
way the budget was adjusted before I started, this is really the first year we can hone in on each individual location like that. So
right.
I think the intent is that we try to get as close to break even as possible and keep it affordable for families. And getting another year of data in there will really help us
Yeah.
really determine what we need to do to make that happen. So
We don't have the stats and numbers like we do at the dog park, do we, at Pigeon?
We have great numbers there based on, the placer data that Aaron has.
Yeah.
So we can, obviously there's not revenue there except for the dog wash. But we do know the percentage of our users that are coming from out of county versus in county, which at the dog park is quite a few out of county, more than in county, I believe. I think it's right over the line, just a
Wow.
little over 50%. Is that right, Kurt? At the dog park, I think that is,
Huh.
it's a lot. So, if we were ever to get to that discussion and we needed to come up with additional revenue sources, that data would be very, very helpful to know that, what percentage of the people who are using those facilities are not county taxpayers.
and I've worked with Placer quite extensively before coming here, and generally you can get that data back to 2017. So we can look at those trends as well if we wanted to go down that road in the future.
Thank you.
Good. All right, final questions? Otherwise, we'll put it to a vote. All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries.
Go buy hot dogs.
Yeah. It's that time of year, isn't it? All right, the Prine and Newhoff contract amendment that has been discussed and reviewed by the planning committee. And we have a suggested motion to approve a professional services contract amendment with Prine and Newhoff, if anyone would care to make that as written.
So moved.
All right, thanks, Lucas. Do we have support?
Or
All right, thanks, Phil. All right, Kurt, did you want to go over this just a little bit for folks not on the planning committee?
Yeah, as, I don't know if we put it on here, but yeah, we've been working on this project since 2018. And someone was asking me, why has that been? And there's lots of reasons for it. We originally thought we were going to get a TAP grant, this federal grant, and then they decided that they would no longer fund projects in the floodplain. And this is definitely in the floodplain because we want a trail by the river. So anyway, so there's been lots of things that have happened. And as you recall, we talked quite a bit about this one property that we needed an easement to get around the ditch. I thought it was a stream, but the ditch, and they were not being cooperative on that. So anyway, there's been a number of things like that. So that was one. We finally figured out a way to get around not getting the easement. But we've had to redo all our permits because the permits are so old. We've had to upgrade the plans to meet the new road commission standards because they like all these cross sections on the whole way. And imagine that the rates of the cost per hour for an engineer have gone up a little in 7 years. So there's a number of things. So it does sound like a lot, $94,000, but in the big scheme of things, it's still within a normal fee range for an engineer doing a project of this size. So we would like to proceed with it. We're hoping this project to go out for bids next spring. Yeah, if we can handle this, this should be our last change if things go as they're supposed to. So
Questions? All right, we'll go ahead and vote on it. All those, oh, no, we don't. Oh, yeah, we do have a motion. Sorry.
Yep.
All those in favor say aye.
Hi.
All those opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. Getting ahead of myself here. All right, item D is the Spring Valley Church easement agreement, and this is another one that was reviewed by planning. And we have a suggested motion. This is along the Allendale segment of the Item Explorers Trail, so just another easement. We have a suggested motion, if everyone would feel comfortable making that.
I'd support that.
Okay, thanks, Bruce. Do we have support?
Support.
All right, giving it to Joe. Good teamwork, guys. All right, anything to highlight on this, Kurt? I know you said it was
not a
pretty
lot. This
normal.
is, you may be familiar with it, 60th and M45. There's a church on the northeast corner. That's who we're dealing with. The area on 60th, they have a turn. They've got multiple lanes there, so that took up most of the right of way. So we actually need just a little more right of way next to the existing right of way. The price is based on the what the realtor's estimate was, so they're not asking for anything more or anything less than what we offered. So we should proceed.
Super. Questions, comments? All right, we'll put it to a vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, motion carries. And item E is establish an Ottawa County Parks and Recreation Commission nominating committee. This one, I think I'm going to go ahead and change it to information only. There is some really great information on there, though, that everyone should take a look at, and there's a summary of request. This isn't a new committee, so I don't think we need any. This is a committee that's been in existence, I don't know, well over 10 years. Joe, I think you sat for probably way longer than that. Yeah, exactly. So, but just to let you know, it's going to be coming up. We'll have a nominating committee probably appointed in December, when we know who's going to be on the Parks Commission for sure after the Board of Commissions appointments. And then we'll move forward with that. But just kind of letting everybody know the timing of that, and then they'll make recommendations for the 2026 Parks Commission officers. So, but just kind of throwing that out there for information at this point in time, but it is not, I just wanted to emphasize that it wasn't a new committee, so. All right, but if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. We can talk about that too. Or when the committee's appointed, you can reach out to them directly. It won't be me, so we'll have some folks appointed to that. All right, item F is the DNR MOU that you guys have the handout on here. And I think on page 2 of that handout, we have, this has been before planning and reviewed by planning and discussed as well, but there is a suggested motion on the second page to approve the MOU with the DNR. So if anyone would care to make that or feel comfortable making that.
I'd move that we approve the memorandum of understanding and agreement with the Michigan Department of Natural Resources to provide $43,126 in funding for the design and construction of the Item Explorers Trail through the Bass River Recreation Area and forward to the County Board of Commissioners for final approval. Further, the director is instructed to take such actions as are necessary to implement the intent of the commission. These matters.
In these matters, I think. Yeah, super. Do we have support?
They do.
Okay, thanks, Jane. All right, questions, comments? Is this Kurt or Jason? Is there anything to highlight about this?
I can say this, the state has offered over $2 million to help with this project, and they've been picking away at it using various sources, state-funded sources, other grant program. So we didn't realize this was all of a sudden coming, but all of a sudden it did. So this is part of their commitment to the project. So we've done, I don't know, a couple other ones similar to this.
Might be, yeah, this
Yeah.
might be the third, the same, second MOU, and then there was another,
Questions? Comments? All right, we'll go ahead and put it to a vote. All those in favor, say aye. All those opposed, say nay. All right, motion carries. And that brings us to our second public comment. Mel, thanks for joining us today. Anyway, we love to have folks in the audience, so. All right, we'll go around the horn then with Commissioner's prerogative. We'll start over with you, Paul.
Nothing to share, thanks.
Okay, Bruce?
I can't think of anything right.
Okay.
I
All right,
can't either.
Lucas? No? Jane?
I'm good.
All right, Linda?
I just want to thank staff because there is a ton of information that comes out through here, and I'm always amazed every Friday when I get them before and start reading. So thank you for that.
Great. Martin?
I actually have two things.
Okay,
Um,
awesome.
One, I was reminded when looking through I think it was a planning committee report about the signage updates that were requested at Upper Makatawa in the mountain bike trail. And it reminded me of something that I saw some, great consternation about online, as you can imagine. That was based at Riley Trails. It could be happening elsewhere. I'm not sure. Somebody had a head-on collision with somebody riding an e-dirt bike. Called the county sheriff, I think, who came and actually caught the guy. So, I mean, I think in that particular instance, they were cited. But it's something that's happened to me before. I've had a head-on collision at Riley Trails with somebody, riding things that are pretty explicitly not allowed in county park properties and, going the wrong direction on trails on top of that. And it felt like the kind of thing that, especially if it's, been a recent topic, I figured it would be more useful for staff to be aware of and think about it rather than for dozens of people on the internet to be keyboard warriors about. So I just wanted to mention it. And I've got some screenshots that I also took of people who, posted photos of different signage that's been implemented other places around Michigan and whatnot, clarifying, because there's a lot of rules, right, going on around as e-bikes get more and more prevalent. There's bicycles, there's pedal assist e-bikes of 3 different classes, and then there's stuff outside of that, like what these people were riding. And so rules can be quite confusing. So, I mean, I'm not gonna share those photos
Yeah,
here on the
pass it
method,
along,
but
that
I'd
would
be
be great.
happy to pass them along just for kind of information to consider.
well, and I think that, because there were two things you said. So I think the e-bike, we're pretty familiar with kind of the challenges with managing those and and some of the feedback we've gotten from the mountain biking community in general is, at least as long as it's the class 1, there hasn't been a lot of opposition if it's a class 1, if they're adhering to the regular, rules. I think it's a whole nother problem if they're right. If we have it directional, the park and the trails directionally signed, it's an issue if it's, regardless if it's an e-bike or a regular mountain bike or, that.
I think
it
the
caused
the concern here is primarily about people riding like the throttle bikes,
right, right.
which is what the cases were, that both what I've experienced and what this particular person had is like, motocross bikes essentially, but without
Right.
a combustion engine in them.
Wow.
No, and I mean, really, some of them now are more, in essence, electric motorcycles, right?
Right.
Almost.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'll certainly pass along.
yeah, I guess
information.
I think working on the signage and the rule enforcement both ways is important, but then, especially if there's which one, if there is one that we need to focus on trying to figure out how to manage or address between the two. Yeah, and I think e-bikes will continue to be, and it's e-bikes and scooters and
One wheels,
single, what do you call them?
one wheel.
One wheels. Like, how do we manage that? Because I think they will continue to be more prevalent, and how do we, consider signage or even trail design to help mitigate those if
Well, if the
necessary.
person got a ticket cited, they were apparently on the wrong, so
Mhm.
that's a good thing that they called
Right.
the police. I think
Sure.
that's important.
And throughout the, different state organizations that oversee Parks and Rec, whether it's M Parks or whether it's any of the trail or the statewide trail organizations, this is a very popular subject of discussion. And while nobody has the answer, it's something that is frequently discussed, and there's always things to try that come out of those meetings. So I think we'll all continue to monitor that and hopefully eventually come to something that at least makes it a little better and makes everybody a little safer.
Did you have
Oh, and I
another
had
item?
one
Yeah,
other
go
too.
ahead.
A completely unrelated thing. It was just a question. So I can't remember if it was mentioned at all in the park plan about Hawthorne Pond and the continuity of the trail as it, currently exists over on the eastern edge near Upper Mac and going through the ODC property. On the west end, has there been discussion about working with the big church on the other side of the highway to try to go under the 196?
Oh, yeah. The,
Yeah.
With the MAC.
what's that?
Ottawa Area Coordinating Council.
Yeah.
I've been wanting to, Jason there used to work at MDOT, then he worked at, was it Barron County Road Commission? I think so. He was the director there. Jason was. So Jason and I have been in a lot of discussions on trying to figure out some funding to go under the highway
Uh-huh.
and make that a trail.
Yeah, the trick is it's Federal Highway Administration, so it's
Yeah.
not easy.
Different than the state.
Yeah.
Federal highway.
Okay.
But yes, that definitely is on that would be our long-term
My drain runs
goal.
under it, so we're trying to figure.
Yeah,
out
I knew there was,
Yeah.
right, there's a,
Mhm.
I mean, it's certainly,
Oh, I have jurisdiction.
and it's way up high. There's really no reason, I mean, it'd be
Kidding.
easy to go under there if you
Yeah.
can get
Yep.
permission and
And Jason's aware of it from
Yeah.
the MAC, the
Mhm.
director of the MAC.
Yep.
Good question.
Good question. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great.
Yeah. I'm
Phil,
good.
you got anything?
I am good, thank you.
Okay, Joe?
I don't have any.
Phil?
Two quick things. Firstly, I want to, I don't think he's at the meeting. Aaron was a wonderful leader in the discussion with the Shoreline Trails and Greenways
He
organization.
did just, he showed up a little bit ago, but
Well,
Where you been?
if you want him to leave, we can ask him.
No. Jimmy's blocking him. But anyway, no, I went to the meeting, which is something that I know, Martin, you probably don't have time to go to those meetings, but it's quarterly and it might be a good thing. It was, for me, it was an informational meeting that was very valuable. The second question I have, and I don't know who to address this to, but I noticed, I think it was at Hemlock Crossing, there's a big sign that a lot of the volunteer work is being done there by people from GHSP. Is that continuing?
Yeah, they're one of our adopted park groups, although it's been lower participation lately.
Right. The point I raised is that the company is being sold.
Okay.
So whoever the new buyers are, we hope they stay in Grand Haven, which is a big question. But you might want to find out who those folks are and continue. I know Bob Mercer is no longer there. He's the guy that pulled that organization together. So,
Good to know. Thank you. Yeah, we have noticed some waning participation, so they're on our list to follow up with.
okay,
I'll make
because,
note of that
you
for
know, you're
Carly.
giving them a lot of credit with a big sign, and if they're not doing it.
Yep.
you know.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
The person that we've always dealt with at GHSP though is super dedicated, so even if he hasn't been able to rally the troops as much, he's always there.
Yes.
And
yes.
they're our longest lasting adopted park partner, right?
Thanks.
So
Yeah,
they've been
they are.
doing it for a long time.
And just so you know, too, they are 3-year, 1-year commitments, and we ask them to do 3 work days a year. So that's kind of how. they
Just
do it.
pointing out the
No,
concern.
good to know though. That's, yeah, we should follow up.
So, good. No, that's okay. Hold on, I have to write something down. Great. Anybody else? I think I just wanted to say as we wrap up the crazy summer and fall and going into winter, how hard everybody at Parks is always burning the candle at both ends. And, Jason and all the coordinators are at nighttime meetings and doing the day jobs and all of that. And I think we just really appreciate all the efforts, and hopefully you guys get some breathing time over the holidays, but just really impressed by everybody on Park staff, and wanted to give kudos to everybody because your efforts are not unappreciated. But. All right, with that, we will need a motion to go into closed session.
Make that motion.
I'll second that.
All right, Martin and Joe, thank you. All right, and we will take roll and shut down the live stream and moved into our closed session for today.
Bush,
Yes.
Greenlee,
Here.
Harris, Hill,